Hi everyone, my name is Mandy Feary. I'm a kindergarten teacher here at Garfield, and first we wanted to just welcome you and your family to Garfield. This is an amazing place and we're really happy that you're here. We also want to say thank you for all the work that we know you're going to be doing up front with your kids as they continue to learn about technology, and we continue to learn about technology with them. Some of the resources we're going to go over today are going to be optional in the future. They might change, and so we'll just need to continue to be in constant contact with you. So the platform that the district has decided to use is Microsoft Teams. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is how to get onto Microsoft Teams. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, there are two ways that you can get to Microsoft Teams. One of the ways that you can get to Microsoft Teams is by using the desktop application that's already pre-downloaded on your student's desktop computer. So on your desktop computer, you might either have a shortcut to get to Microsoft Teams, or it might already be preloaded within your menu bar. Another way that you can get to Microsoft Teams is by going through Clever. And Clever is an application that the district uses and teachers use in order to deliver content to students in a student-friendly, kid-friendly way. So I understand that those are two very big terms, so we're going to go ahead and walk through exactly what those two things are. The first thing we're going to do is go to Clever in order to access our Microsoft Teams. What you are going to do is open up a browser window. A browser window is when you use Microsoft Chrome or you use another browser window such as Firefox. When you go to SpokaneSchools.org, you have a little window that pops up here. We don't need that, so we're just going to click the X. And I want you to click on the button right here that says Digital Tools. There's a finger with a little dot. When we go to Digital Tools, there are two different options here. The one on the left side says Clever, and then there's an option that says Clever Family Portal. Clever Family Portal is a new application that parents can use. We are not going to go over Clever Family Portal with you today. We're going to go over Clever on the student version so we can get them started. So when you get to Digital Tools, we're going to click on Clever. And this is the app that we'll end up looking for. This is called Microsoft Teams, but this is not a clickable link. So hover your button over the Clever button right here and then click. Once you are at this page, this is where you're going to log your student in using either their email address and birth date as their password, or their login is their student ID for Spokane Public Schools, and their password is their birth date. The birth date is a 2-digit month, a 2-digit date, and a 4-digit year. So what that means is it's 8 digits in all. So we're going to click here to log in. Mine is already saved, so it's taking me straight there. This is what it looks like on the teacher side of the page. So when you're looking at the favorites right here, please ignore these. These are not things that you need to even think about right now. So I am just going to try to hide a lot of these things that I have on the screen. But these are all of the different applications that my district has preloaded for me to use. At the very top, it says Pages, and you can think of these as like websites in some sort of a fashion. So I have mine right here. It says Miss Feary's class. Your student will likely have more than one page. So your student is going to need to learn which one is the one that is meant for class, because you will also have pages for specialists. And by specialists, I mean PE and music and science. So today we're just going to click on our class page because this is the main area that your student will be accessing. When we click on the page, you can see that already there are a bunch of applications that show up for students to use and access. And we already have them preloaded. Now this is what my teacher page looks like. Other kindergarten teachers might have something that looks a little bit different based on the resources they're using. So even though we might not be using this application in the beginning, I still have it here. We'll go over the applications later, but right now we're still trying to get on track in order to get you to Microsoft Teams. So again, you can access Microsoft Teams either on your desktop or you can access it through this application called Clever. And once you have Clever, the link saved to your computer, it'll be really easy to access. In order to get to Microsoft Teams, the next step you want to take is clicking on Office 365. This will take you to your students' applications and all of the different applications they have. You can see right here I already have my username and password saved. You will want to log in underneath your student's login and password with, again, either their email address and password or their student ID up here, and their password is their 8-digit birthday. So go to Office 365. It will open up a new tab for you inside your browser window. Browser window just means it's inside of Chrome. At the very top here, you can see that we have access to email, Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, Teams, Sway, and Forms. This is a lot of applications. Today, let's just focus on getting to Microsoft Teams. It's unlikely we will be using any, if any more of the applications that are listed here at all. So please just click on Teams, and it will open up a new tab and ask if you want to open this up in a window. So down here, I'm using a Macintosh, but you can use the web-based app or it will open it up inside your computer. Once you get to Microsoft Teams, the next step is going to be to find your child's class. So let's pause right here and give you a chance to find Microsoft Teams on your own. Okay, once you've opened up the Microsoft Teams application by either going through Clever or your desktop app, the next part is to find where your classroom team is. If you look over here on the left-hand side, this is called the Me bar, the ME bar. And what that means is this pertains to everything your student might need. When you first open the application, it will automatically go to your Microsoft Teams right here. And then it shows all of your different teams. You can see that it says right here, your teams. If you were to click on it, it would hide. So click down right here, and the next step is to find your class. Mine is right here. Your student will have more than one classroom team because even though they're a Gen Ed classroom, they have specialists such as PE, music, and science. So this is what our kindergarten classroom looks like in Miss Fury's class. Again, your student's classroom might look a little different based on the teacher that you have. So if we click right here, you can see that there are many people that I've added to my team. This is called the General tab. At the very top, we have the General tab, and here are different tabs at the top that relate to different content or areas that we have created. The first tab right here is Posts. This used to be called Conversations, and I kind of like thinking about it that way. The only problem that I want you to take note of is if you were to write something in the chat right here, that everything that's added goes to the very bottom. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom. So for this reason, this probably will not be a way that we choose to communicate with you, and it might not be an efficient way for you to communicate with us. So your student's teacher will let you know how it is that they would like you to talk with them, because we don't want to lose anything that you have to say, especially if it's an important question that you might have. On the left right here, these are called channels. Your teacher's channels might look different as well. I have week 1 is September so that the posts that are happening won't take up the entire page, and I have other channels that I might have hidden. I also have small groups already made. If you see the lock right here, what that means is unless your student is a part of this group, they will not see this as an option. But what I have are different emojis put next to them so that when your student is assigned to a small group, they know which small group they're a part of. At the top, let's go back to the tabs up here. You can see that when you hover over different tabs, there's a purple line that shows up underneath. The first tab I have right here is called Flipgrid. The next one is Seesaw, and the last one is Clever. Depending on your teacher's page, these 3 tabs may or may not be here. In fact, I'm thinking it might be easier if we just continue to use Clever. So again, Clever is how you got to Teams, and when you click Clever up here, it will automatically open again within Teams itself. That's the nice thing about using tabs inside Teams. And you can see it wants me to authenticate who I am and log in. So when you get to your Classroom Teams page, the first thing you're going to do is click any of the tabs at the top and log in with your child's Microsoft Teams account information. That again is their email address and their 8-digit birth date, or it will be their student ID and their birth date. So let's go ahead and take a moment and you can practice on your own. So as you can see, if you were to open up the Clever tab at the top inside your Teams folder, it automatically will open up that website right here inside Microsoft Teams without students having to go to a separate window, which could be kind of confusing. However, if you were to click inside your Classroom Teams and you wanted to click a separate link inside here, this will open up a browser window for your student. So keep that in mind. It only houses it within the original website content or within it, but those are separate applications. So when it's time for your student to join a Teams meeting, there are a couple ways that you can access that Teams meeting. The first way is right here in the General Conversation tab. It will say Join a Meeting. Up here in the right-hand corner, it will also say Join a Meeting. It will be a purple pop-up that shows up inside your Microsoft Teams once it is open. A third way that you could also join your meeting, and probably the simplest for you to see, is to go to the calendar, and inside your calendar, you can see that I already have some meetings created. Right inside the calendar, it shows when and where you're going to meet. If you're not in the correct week, you can always go ahead. So you can see that I created a little test meeting, and I click it right here, and here's that purple join code. So there are several ways for you to join. The easiest way might just be going to the calendar, clicking on the meeting, and clicking join. And this is where your students are probably going to need the most help in the beginning. Our hope is to be able to teach students a little bit more to be independent, but that of course takes time when we're learning and teaching 5- and 6-year-olds. So if you continue to help your students practice now, that might save all of our sanity a little bit later on as we continue to move on in our learning. Okay, so once you're inside your Microsoft Teams and you're ready to join your meeting, you can access it through the calendar or your main general tab. So if I click right here and you can see it says testing meeting and I have my invites and I click join, even though it's not time yet, we're just going to pretend like it is, you can see all of a sudden, here I am, and I started to freeze. That will happen too. Here are some things that we want kids to be able to know within the first week of kindergarten, and that is how to turn your video off and how to turn your microphone off. Also being able to turn it on so that we can hear them and turn it on again, because there are different times when we might turn off our computer screen so that we can do independent work, and certain times when it's not your turn to talk, you want to make sure your voice is off. So when this main screen comes up, we want students' camera to be on because this is real-time learning. We want them to be on mute. That's with the slash across the little microphone. And then you can click Join Now. If you're in a place where maybe you don't feel comfortable sharing your background or you just want to be fun or silly, you can change your background this way. There's a little icon right here that looks like it has diagonal slash lines and a little person. If you click on this right here, there are different backgrounds that you can choose, such as blurring your background to give you a little bit more privacy, which might be nice, especially for older students or if you're working in an environment where there are many students. So I did want to make sure that you had that option available to you. There's also some fun ones in here. There's a Minecraft one. So kids can feel free to choose whatever they want, or they could even create their own background and you could hang it up in the back for them to share with their friends. It'll be a really fun opportunity to share our individual self and who it is that we are. So I'm going to go back up here, and I don't need to blur my background. I think I'm in an okay place and I'm okay sharing my background. Then what you do is you click Join Now. So we click Join Now, and then it will come up. Now, right now, you're only seeing me, but when we have a Teams meeting, there will be a grid of different students inside the screen. So again, we want the video to be on because this is real-time learning, and we want the microphone to be off. Okay, so the next part that we want kids to be able to learn is being able to know what these different icons in the left-hand corner are. And they might be a little bit different based on the kind of device that you're using. Right now I'm using a Macintosh, but the colors are exactly the same. So the green button, as you can see when I hover over it, it says Enter Full Screen. We are not going to have kids learn how to use that part yet. The only two things we want them to learn are the Minimize button and the Close button. So when they're inside a meeting, we might be able to share for them to be able to access other resources. This is going to be a long-term goal, so just know this isn't something we're expecting kids to know right now, but it will help if in the beginning they're like, oops, and their computer screen gets really small. They know what happens to it and that it's something that happens from time to time. So if I click the Minimize button right here, see there's a little box that comes over into the bottom right-hand corner. In order to access that window again and to make it big, you just click once on that window and it comes right back up. When it's time for a student to be done with their meeting, we just click the Leave button. Now, we're also going to share other ways for students to be engaged in technology and learn, such as raising their hand by using the virtual Raise Their Hand feature. However, sometimes this is just a lot of information for kiddos all at one time. Some kids might have more experience in using something like this, and some students might not. So the two essential things we want kids to know are to join with their camera on, make sure they're muted. They don't need to know how to raise their hand yet. Okay, so if they know how to turn their video on and they know how to turn the voice sound on and off, that is perfect. That's exactly where we want them to start. And when you're done, you just click the red Leave button. And if they can't do it right away for them, we can close the meeting for them. So I'll go ahead and click the Leave button. And it makes a little button that lets us know it's done. Okay, so again, we talked about there being different tabs and different applications that your teacher may or may not use. Today might just be a good time that whatever application your teacher would like your student to log into so that it's saved in the computer for you to access and log in so that it's saved for your student the first time that it's chosen to be used. One of the applications that your student's teacher may or may not use is Flipgrid. You can access Flipgrid either right here inside Clever, and again, it might also just be a tab inside their Teams page. Right here, Flipgrid, and it's got a little video thing right here. If you click on it, your student just needs to log in inside of this inside Teams right here with their Microsoft account. Again, their login and password that is the same for the computer. The same goes with Seesaw. Seesaw can also be accessed inside of Microsoft Teams depending on how your student teacher decides to do that, or it could also just be accessed inside of Clever. It depends on your student's teacher again. So whichever applications your teacher has decided to use, please take a moment and go ahead and open up those applications so that you can log in and have them saved for the future. As we get closer to using things and we learn where our kids are, where our family needs are, we might incorporate a little bit more. So go ahead and take a moment to do that right now. Okay, so the application that kindergarten through second grade is looking at using inside of Microsoft Teams or inside Clever is called Seesaw. When you click on Seesaw, again, you just want to log in with your information so that it goes to your page. Your student's teacher will have their login information for you inside of Seesaw because they do have a unique login and password in order to use it. What you're looking at right here is the teacher side. Once you log in, as you can see, students can access their learning right here. If, for instance, I have an assignment right here, let's go to activities. Here we go. If you go to the activities page, you can see that I have a really short assignment up here at the top, which is nice because it can be recorded by me in advance. So right here it says, let's go ahead and click the play button, which is play instructions. Please tell us your name, how old you are, and your favorite thing to do. My name is Miss Fury. I am 34 years old, and my favorite thing to do is spend time with my daughter. So when it's time to add a response, what you can do is right here, click Add Response. You're going to find, well, I'm in the teacher side, so you won't have to select a student, okay, but you can click your own. There is a way for you to respond depending on what the instructions call for. If you're asking for students to respond with a video, it's got a nice big video icon, and here I am. When I'm done, I go ahead and click the video, start recording in 2, 1, go. And then when I'm done, I just click the pause button and I'm done. That's it. It's really simple for kids to use and very user-friendly. The next thing is you just click done. You can review it ahead of time. Kids could draw. We're not going to go over that. I just wanted to show you something basic. And again, click the green check button again. And then right here, it shows up in their individualized student journal. So that's pretty neat way in order for students to interact both with their teacher so that they know what it is that they should be doing during independent time. So this might be another way that your student's teacher communicates with you through the inbox. So activities, and then it has all of their work saved through their journal. So if you have questions about whether or not your student's teacher is using Seesaw, make sure you check in with them before you go. But that is the last application we're going to go over today. There is a lot of information. You will have access to this video whenever you need. We'll make sure that you have a handout with the link to that. And we'll also try to make some tutorials as the future goes on and things adapt and change. We really just want to make sure that we get to know your kids better, get to know you better, and make sure that kids are getting learning in a way that is accessible and also age appropriate. So I hope this was helpful for you. Let us know if we can help you in any other way. Have a really wonderful afternoon.